Hi, this is Kathy Quinn with Floriani. Floriani is a division of R&K Distributing, and I want to welcome you to this week's Project of the Week. Now this week we're going to work on a little luggage tag, and I stole this idea from one of our new educators, Kathi Farrell, who came to an event with me this weekend, and she had the most adorable luggage tag on her luggage, and I told her I was going to steal the idea for our project this week. We're going to come in here and I'm going to get a new piece of paper, and we're going to create this luggage tag. Now, for those of you that have been following my lessons, you know probably my favorite tool is our custom shape. So we're going to left mouse click on the down arrow, and we are going to select a custom shape. I want the bow tie for this exercise. Of course, you select whatever shape you would like. Now this comes in as a line art image. It's perfect vector art, but it is not stitches yet. So we need to turn this into stitches. Now we have our one-click wonder categories along the bottom, and I just love this about Floriani. It makes it so easy. Now I'm going to create an Appli-stitch design with this. Now this is my blue bush down here at the bottom. That is my Appli-stitch icon. This is a Floriani exclusive feature. Now I'm going to left mouse click on it, and sure enough I have created an Appli-stitch. Now Appli-stitch is goof-proof applique. What Appli-stitch does is it will stitch out a placement line for you. Now you'll lay down a piece of Appli-stitch fabric a little bigger than your shape. Appli-stitch fabric is available at your dealers. Now we have velvet, we have glitter, we have leather look, we've got vinyl look. So you can, and a variety of colors. So you lay down your Appli-stitch fabric. Now you will use your tack down stitch. There is your trapping line right there. And then it will finish with the satin stitch outline. Now you grasp your Appli-stitch fabric and you tear it away from the outside. So it will tear away all around here. Now you'll notice there is a line on the inside. This is called your trapping stitch, because let me tell you something. If it'll tear away from the outside, it will tear away from the inside. Now if we look at our sequence view and I click on my plus sign, it tells you, Kathy, you created Appli-stitch. Now if I click on the plus before the Appli-stitch icon, it shows me what makes up Appli-stitch. There's a tack down, placement, a tack down, the trapping stitch, and the finish. But these four sequences are locked together. You can't take them apart to play with them. And I want to play. I don't want just a boring straight stitch in there. I want to liven up my bow tie. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the Appli-stitch. So it's all selected. Then I will right mouse click and tell it break up the Appli-stitch. Tell the software it's 4 sequences and don't let it know it's Appli-stitch anymore. So I'm going to click on this with a left mouse click, and notice now I have 4 sequences in one design, and they're merely a run stitch, a run stitch, a run stitch, and a steal. So now it's broken these down into pieces. So I'm going to grab this green, which is this trapping line right here, but now I can select it by itself and play with it. Now with it selected, I'm going to come back down to my categories. The nice thing about having your one-click wonder categories is when I select a category and click on it, such as this Motif Run, notice in my properties box, now everything it's got in here pertains to the Motif Run. I don't need to know what questions I should ask, because the minute I select it, the software goes and says, okay, Kathy, now here's what you can do. You can select any one of the motifs. So look through and find a motif you like. So I'm looking through. So I could come in here and find a motif. You can even create your own. So I think I'm going to pick this motif right here. Now what else does it tell me it does? It says, Kathy, you can change the size of your motif, and if you want to put space between the motifs. So let's change this to a 4 and apply. So I've got a pretty decorative stitch around the inside. It's still going to hold the Appli-stitch fabric down the same, but it does it with a little more flair. Now, if I wanted to have a little space between each one of these motifs, I could give it some spacing here. And the great thing about this is you can play with it until you get it where you like it. Well, I don't think it's very attractive with that much spacing. So I'm going to go back. I like the stitch length at 4. It makes my motif a little bigger. It looks perfect. I'm very happy with this to hold down my Appli-stitch fabric. Now I need to create a buttonhole because I have to have something to tie my tag on to my luggage handle. So I'm going to come up here to the top. Here is our buttonhole icon. So I'm going to left mouse click on it, and notice there we go in our properties box. Everything that can be done is right here. So I am going to hold down my left mouse key and I'm going to drag and create a buttonhole. I'm going to drag both vertically, horizontally. Now I'm going to let go and I've now created the buttonhole. Now I'm going to select my buttonhole by coming up to my upper left hand tool. It's selected and I'm going to decide where to put it. I could put it up and down in the center. I could put it over on either side. I could move it horizontally. So I can play and place it where it's attractive to me. This is all personal preference. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to leave it there for now. I might move it for a design feature later. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to add some text in here. I might want to put my name, I just might want to put something, but we're going to put some text in. So up here in the upper left hand on your second toolbar is your lettering tool. Now what I want is I want to put some text on path. I don't want it just to go straight across. I want to have some fun text. So let's go to the path, left mouse click on it, and left mouse click on screen. Now that I'm on screen, I can pick the pathing I want. And if it's not exactly what you want, it's okay because we can adjust all of that. I'm going to show you how to play with your path. So I think I'm going to pick path 14 here. Now there is my path. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to type in, whoops, I lost it. Let me select it again. Let me get back and go back to selecting it. There we go. If you lose it, like I did, select it and then go ahead and reactivate your text tool. It'll bring back all your control points. It'll bring back your path, everything. Now I'm going to come in here and type in, my clothes will not fit you. And I've got small 4mm lettering selected. Now I have a choice for it to stitch above the line, in the center of the line, below the line, to reflect. So you've got all these choices in here. You are in full control of this. Now I'll just leave it at this run stitch lettering right now. You might want to pick a little satin. That's personal preference. And I'm going to apply. Now it says my clothes will not fit you. Now I might want to play with this baseline a little bit. I may not just want it to look like the curve that we had given you. So what you'll do is put your cursor on it. Notice my cursor is on it, and right mouse click and tell it I want to edit this baseline. Now it shows me the control points. So I could come in here and I could say, okay, I want this to be a little more here. I want to pull this one up. I want to move this out over here. I could even add a point if I needed some more control points. I'd right mouse click and say add a point. So now I can even kind of give it a little hump there. Right mouse click, add a point, pull it up here. I could actually make it follow the contours of the bow. So you've got a whole lot of control here. So you can start out with one of our pre-done baselines and then you can customize it to what you want. So you don't just have to start from scratch. You can come in here and play and have a good time. Now when you get it where you want it, where you're happy with it. Once it's there, right mouse click. Well, hang on a second. I told you to right mouse click. And I lost it. 1 second. There we go. We're going to edit the baseline again. There we go. Here we go. I lost it all before I made it real. Until you apply stuff, it's not real. Add a little point here. Add a little point here. And just to make it where you like what you got. Just play around with it. Now I right mouse click and it's now going to follow my line. So once I've got that done, how I like it, you can move this around. You can put whatever you like in here. And you notice these are a little bit close. So I could come in here and I could drag this along the line a little bit, play with some of these control points here. Make it spread out a little bit by dragging that one. If I wanted to make it larger, both width and height, you can see the black arrow on the other side gives me a little bit more, gives me width and height together. I can actually use these kerning icons, the little blue diamonds, if I want to change the space between a couple of the letters that are a little bit close. You have so much control in this program. Now what I would do is I would take this, I am going to hoop my Floriani Perfect stick. I'm going to take a piece of Stitch and Shape. Now Stitch and Shape is about 1/8 of an inch thick. It's a needle punched product. It's kind of got some body stiff to it. And I would put that down in my hoop. I would go ahead and stitch out my placement line, trim it so it's the right side. Excuse me, not trim it. Stick it down, stitch out my placement line, put my Appli-stitch down. Go ahead and stitch out my Appli-stitch, tear it away. Get this all finished. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Floriani heat cutting tool. I'm going to set that down on a tile or a piece of glass, and I'm going to burn out this design with my heat cutting tool. It will cut right through my Stitch and Shape, and I will have a beautiful little luggage tag. I'll cut out the middle where I've got my buttonhole to put my strap through and put this on my luggage. Now, of course, you can pick any shape you want. You can pick any lettering you want. You can pick any font you want that will fit in this. So it's totally up to you, because remember, with FTC-U, the only thing that limits you is your creativity. So I hope you enjoyed the little luggage tag lesson with the idea of using Appli-stitch and Stitch and Shape, customizing your lettering, using a buttonhole, playing with your baselines, learning how to take apart an Appli-stitch so you can put in a decorative stitch. I hope you enjoyed this week's lesson, and I look forward to seeing you next week.